Good afternoon, good morning. This is Mark Johnson from Loyalty360. Everyone's happy, safe, and well. On Friday, August 2nd, at noon East Coast time, Loyalty360 will present another virtual workshop in our ongoing Loyalty University series. This time, we are focusing on the power of customer lifetime value. As many marketers know, they find it very important, but yet challenging to understand, define, and measure customer lifetime value and to understand how it should impact their business. So therefore, it is often underutilized within the organization. In this session, we are going to explore use cases for CLV and share best practices on how to calculate and apply it across organizations. The session will be presented by Peter Fader. He's a professor of marketing at the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania. How are you today, Peter?
I'm doing great, Mark, and looking forward to the session.
As well, definitely a very relevant and germane topic, and no one better to present. So looking forward to the discussion for sure. First off, can you give us a brief overview of what you plan to present to the audience?
Well, you already said it, Mark, but I'll do it again because it bears repeating. There's really three main objectives here. One is to create better, stronger, clearer motivations about why companies would want to be calculating CLV in the first place. Number two, it's the science. It's just really understanding what's it all about. How do we do it? Not going to show any math or integrals or anything, but to at least talk about that stuff to show that it's really, really rigorous. And then three, once you're motivated and once you're convinced that you can do it, what are you going to do with it? So what are the 50 fun things to do with CLV that will help you, well, make more money and just create better alignment across the organization?
Excellent. And who would best benefit from attending this Loyalty University session?
Well, I'd like to think everybody, everybody stands to gain. And actually, I could tie that very well to the three overall objectives that I just mentioned. So, number one, there's a bunch of folks who are just sitting on the sidelines, who are they're hearing about the CLV thing. They're thinking about dipping their toes in the water for a variety of reasons. They're not quite convinced yet. So it's my job to kind of give them that shove to say, "Come on in. The water's great." That's number one. Number two, for folks who are already dipping their toes in it, in fact, some folks might be in pretty deep, maybe even over their heads, and they're not quite sure of what they're doing with it. So again, it's folks who are messing around with it to bring just a lot of clarity, to give a lot of pointers about how to calculate it most appropriately, how it depends on what kind of business setting we're talking about. And number three, the people that I love, the people that you love, the folks who are already doing this stuff. They've already been convinced that it's right. They've been working on the science. They might even have one, two, three use cases for it. But I bet they haven't thought about the full range of use cases, many of which outside of the loyalty arena and marketing as a whole. So to give people just to understand the full scope of what CLV can do for them, and again, for the organization as a whole.
Okay, excellent. And what are a few key takeaways that attendees can expect to learn from the Loyalty University session?
So let me start with that latter point. Really, really trying to build a bridge between marketing and the other parts of the organization, especially the folks in finance and accounting. And if we can convince them that this CLV thing is as relevant to them as it is to us marketers, that's a big win right there. So number one, going to give just a lot of the tools for that kind of bridge building. Number two is to take some of the things that people in marketing and across the organization kind of sort of understand. Again, one of the reasons they've been doing CLV is something like the 80-20 rule. To be able to take stuff that we kind of understand casually, but make it rigorous, make it formal, make it in a way that we can actually draw comparisons across parts of our company over time, across different companies. So just bring in just a lot more rigor to it. And number three, it's just maybe from a language standpoint. A lot of the ways that we talk about CLV tend to be a little either loosey-goosey, or sometimes we're hedging ourselves with the word "but" an awful lot, to be able to talk much more clearly and crisply about what CLV is, again, why we do it, what we do with it, so that there's less uncertainty, there's less hedging in our discussions about it. That by itself is going to help with a lot of the internal and external credibility and just give us more confidence as we use it.
You talked about kind of the importance of socializing internally. Are there kind of a series of mistakes that you see, or maybe one thing that brands are either hesitant to kind of jump in, or a mistake that they're making when they look to customer lifetime value, and maybe holistically, if they that you see, right?
Yeah, it's very interesting that again you kind of answered the question in asking it. It's funny how I use the words like company, enterprise, and you said brands, and right there is a big problem. That for a lot of companies, the brand is sacred. The brand is the thing that we all rally around, and it's for good reason. A lot of companies really put a lot of time, effort, money to building the brand, and it's hard to kind of knock it off its perch. I like to believe that once you really understand the uses for CLV and so on, that we want to kind of level things out a little bit. So we're not in any way diminishing the brand, but we want to put a lot of this quantification on an equal level, both to again win over folks in the organization who might be skeptical about the brand, and potentially to help us come up with a better financial assessment and justification for the brand. So I really like to think that in some sense branding per se and CLV sometimes are at odds with each other. Different people in the organization, turf wars, and I'd like to try to again improve that, and I think we can go real far with it.
No, I think that's going to be a significant part because one of the things that we see is that there's kind of a group that look at the customer loyalty program process as an investment, which it should be, right? But more and more kind of look at it as a cost, or a cost center that should be minimized. So getting that fulcrum to swing back over to the investment side is where I'm sure you're going to help us and the audience kind of get to.
And it's a perfect example of one area where we want to reframe, minimizing costs into maximizing value. And there's just so many other areas, whether it's of marketing per se, customer service, or elsewhere in the organization, even like what we should be doing R&D on, to really have just a different kind of conversation, more productive, more aligned, more kind of financially rigorous. That's what it's all about.
Excellent. Well, Peter, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us today. Definitely looking forward to the session on August 2nd, and it's going to be a treasure trove of information to digest, so it should be quite impactful for everyone. So thank you again.
My pleasure. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And thank you everyone today for joining in. Looking forward to seeing you on the 2nd. Until then, have a wonderful day.